Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Basically, this is part of our Excel training program. If you have not watched the previous videos, I would suggest to please go and do watch all of the videos because the process and techniques which we'll be using in this video, we have already covered in our previous video. So right, this video is going to be very exciting for you guys because we'll be creating the data set from scratch. So if you are a beginner in Excel, so it is going to really help you how to create a small data set with a bunch of records and how to link that data set with a larger database, right? So it is very important for you to understand each and every bit of this, right? So let's begin this video by going to a new file and creating our first data set, right? So let me just move on to the new file. So we have just created a new file, right? The name of this file is the first project. So now what we'll do, we'll just start putting the entries. We'll start doing the data entry in a Excel workbook. So this is the same way you can also use if if you're using the Excel for the first time, you can just do this process simultaneously as I'm doing, right? So it won't take you much time actually, and it will help you to understand this process better. So let's begin this. First of all, so let me just clarify one more thing to what we are going to create. We are going to create a monthly sales report. So like it is going to be a data set, and in this monthly sales report we will have the sales figure for some of the products which company produces, and it will be mentioned month on month, right? Month wise basically. Let's begin this. First of all, we need to put the company name. The company name is going to be Profelper Tech Private Limited, right? And the division is going to be the company produces the memory card, right guys? And now we need to put the report name. Report is basically monthly sales report, right? So guys, I am using enter and tab that I have already covered in a previous video, right? If you have missed, please go and do watch that. It will make you understand the process better. So, okay, now we need to put the category, which is going to be standard, right? Now, what else we need to put? We need to put the year because we are going to create this monthly sales report for the year 2022. Right now, what we'll do, we'll just put the column header. So this is going to be for product. The next is going to be January, then February, then March, then April, then May, then June, then July, then August, then September, October, November, and your December, right? So guys, what we have done, we have just entered the column headers, right? So these are very important to understand any kind of data, right? So what will happen actually when you send this data to your boss, to manager, to anyone, right? So what is it? They will find easy this database to understand this data set to understand when this will contain the column header. So column headers are very important because column header contains and shows us the data, right, which pertains to the particular that column, right? And they also shows the type of that particular column in which we are putting the data, right? Now what we need to, as you can say, this the name of this column is product. So now what do we need to put? We need to put the product name which company produces, right? So now we need to put the macro SD. So what first is going to be 28G. The next is company is going to put this 64G. The next is going to be your 128G. The next is going to be 256. The next is going to be suppose 524G card. The next is going to be 606. Right guys. So what we have entered? We have entered the product name. Now what do we need to put? We need to put the sales figures because we are going to create a monthly sales report. Right? So we need to put the some monthly sales figures which are going to be like this, right? Sorry. So in the same way, we will put the sales figures in all the months, right? So let me just enter. So guys, we have entered the sales figures for all the months, right? Now, what do we need to understand here? We have just entered the data. We have not done anything to this particular data, but it's just a basic. We have just created a draft So this draft can be used for the further workings, right? As we move on. So now first what we need to understand about this data set which we have created. So what we have put, we have put the, the, because we are creating a report, so that that should be in the way that, so that each and every person who is reading that report can understand the report easily. So right, we have put the company name and we have put the division, right? Because company is producing the memory card. So this report is all about, the sales, showing the sales figure for the memory card, and this is the name of the report, and this is the category, right? And this is the product. These are the column headers, which are very important because these represents the data set, the records which we have mentioned under that particular column, right? Suppose I have, just because we have entered the column name as a product, so what does that mean? This will contain the name of all the products which company produces. Now suppose, because we have put the January and we have the number records in this particular uh, column. What does that? These all are sales figures, the number sales figures, right? So in the January, for this particular memory card, the sales was 1 lakh rupees 2,433, and so on for the rest of the columns, rest of the records. Right now, there is a one more thing which we need to understand. So whenever you are working uh, with any kind of data set, no, they are known by their row and the column headers, with their row names and the column names. So here, if you see, we have column name, we have columns, and we have total columns 13, as you can see in the status bar. This entire, when we select this, all these columns, so this shows us the number of the columns which our data contain, right? So each column is representing the data, right, which is mentioned under that particular column header, right? Now, one thing to understand here. So when we are talking about the column header, we are not talking about the column headers which are the system defined, like A, B, C, D. So we will talk about the column headers which we have in our data set, right? That you need to understand that that is how a data works, right? So these all are column headers for this particular data set. These all are not your column headers. These all are your column headers, right? And these all are report details basically, which you are mentioning to understand the data, right? So that next time you open the file and you open this data set, so you can easily read it, right? And one more thing. So here we have the column names. If you go downwards, no, from top to bottom, you will see these product names. So all these sales figures, right, which are mentioned, the Jan, Feb, March, April. So all these sales figures pertains to this particular record, and this particular is for this particular column, and this particular row is uh, pertains to this particular product, which is mentioned in this particular row. That is how we understand the data. So here, suppose if someone asks you what is that what was the sales value, sales amount, was what was the sales amount in the month of May for the macro SD256G? How will you find that? So in the month, we'll go in the month of May, which is in column May. And if you come here, micro SD, so we need to come here in this column, oh sorry, row, and in this particular column, so it becomes this one. So for the the sales amount in the month of May for the product macro HD256G is 1,89,072. So this is how you understand your data, with the name of the column, with the name of the row, right? Right, guys? I hope you have understood. So next we will cover in the next thing we will cover in the next video. See you in the next video, guys.